Hi guys, my name is Deeveecool. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and I'll be releasing more tutorials, informative stuff for music producers and mixing engineers. I've been away for a while, been busy with some other stuff off camera, off YouTube, and I'm back now. So welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how to get your MIDI drums to sound as realistic as possible with the help of Slate Trigger, and then some plugins for mixing. So let's dig in. Alright, so I have my kick, snare, toms 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hi-hat and overhead. So I actually used Logic Pro stock drums. So if I click on new software instrument track, and then you go to drum kit. So the drum kit I actually use is called let's see, Retro Rock. I like Retro Rock, sounds really good. Let me drop the volume a bit. See, yeah, that's the snare, toms. So you can actually change, as you know, you can change the toms if you want from here, or the snare, you can change the snare, or the kick, and then your overheads as well, your hi-hat. So I didn't change anything, I just used what came directly from this preset. The way I split everything into multi-tracks is that I create several instances of this same MIDI drums, and then on the first one I'll name it kick. I'll delete every other MIDI information in that MIDI file except the kick, and then I'll bounce in place as kick. Another way to do it is to select here, you select multi-output. If you do multi-output, multi-output is a bit tricky because it still groups the kits, like the toms 1, 2, 3, 4, they will all be in the same channel. See, toms, all toms are here, and then hi-hat, overhead, and percussions are together, and I don't like that because it doesn't give me headroom to do what I have to do on each individual kit. That's why I do it the way I do it. Then I come to my multi-track, I duplicate the kick to have 2 kicks, and then I have a sub kick. So how I generated the sub kick is that a few years ago I recorded Tama Studio Classic. Is it Studio Classic or Star Classic kit with my friend Kweku, who is a fantastic drummer from Ghana. We both recorded it in South Africa, so I had kick samples. I have the kick in, which was recorded with Audix kick mic, and then the kick out was a Shaw kick mic through Audient ASP 800. Fantastic audio interface for preamp, very good. So that was how I got my kick in and kick out. So that's what I have here. See, kick in, kick out. It's actually kick out and kick in. Yeah, let's play the Logic kick that I have here. So this is the Logic kick. I duplicated it. This one is going to be the sub kick. That's why I have my recorded samples here loaded, kick out, kick in, and then they sound like this. I'm sure you feel like this is quite boring, but I only have this. I have other better samples, but this is just for sub kick purpose. So the sub kick sounds really good. after you use your EQ to sculpt out the high and mid frequencies and leave just the low frequencies below 75 hertz. Yeah. And then it sounds like this. After that, I add a transient plugin from Audio Assault. This is a free transient plugin, by the way. Check out their website. So I just push the punch a little bit, the attack a little bit, and then drop down the sustain a bit so that I have a snappy kick with it. And then last on the chain for the sub kick, I just have the Slate Digital trim. Now I have this here to sometimes switch the phase between this sub kick and the other kick, because sometimes it's out of phase and you want it to be in phase. So I just switch this when I have this on the sub kick, and then I can gain stage as well. So on the main kick, that's the Logic kick. On the main kick, I'm using kicks from Joshua House samples, trigger samples. So it's on now, sounds like this. So I have the main kick here, and then on here I have the same kick but just room only, so I can blend in. It doesn't sound too boring, you know, it has to sound as realistic as possible. And then after that, I have my VCC channel from Slate Digital. After that, I have Pro Q3 from FabFilter. So you can see what I did with these frequencies here. I boosted around 5.4K, and then I deep down around 365, and then around 67 hertz. I did like a high pass filter there so that it gives space for the sub kick. So when I combine both of them, they sound like this. Only sub kick, only kick, main kick, and then main kick with sub kick. Now on the main kick, I still add like fresh air from Slate Digital. It's also a free plugin. I just boosted it a little bit for that snappy feel, and then my stock compressor from Logic. That's my sub kick and my main kick with trigger and plugins for mixing. And then if I take out all my processing, the Logic kick sounds like this. But in the context of the mix, I prefer the way I've put it together. Now for the snare, this is the snare from the Logic Retro Rock. And then I have a trigger also from Yosh Warehouse, and that sounds like this. So if I combine it with the Logic drum snare, it sounds together like this. So the last snare, I have one more snare sample I blended in. Now the way I derived this snare is interesting. I actually got it from Spitfire Audio. Now when you go to Labs, Spitfire Audio Labs, yeah. Oh, okay, I'm not connected to the internet right now. But if you have Spitfire Audio Labs, there's a free snare. It's a drum preset there. If you load that drum preset and then you play the snare on that drum preset, it has a kick drum, and then I think the snare drum and then the toms. But the snare is what I used. Okay, I'll make another video on how to convert that to MIDI. So what I did was I converted the audio snare to MIDI and then loaded it on the Spitfire Audio Lab to get, and then I moved the MIDI information to the snare piano roll, the snare part of the piano roll, and then it triggered the snare like that. That was how I got that snare, which sounds like this. Sounds like this. So if I combine all three snares, they sound like this. With the kicks. For the toms, this is tom 1 without processing or trigger. Sounds like this. With trigger, Yosh Warehouse. Tom 2 without trigger. With trigger. Tom 1, 2. So that's my processing for the toms. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I use the trigger, I make sure I tuned the trigger tom to sound as close as possible to the actual tom I have on the tom channel. Then with processing, then I grouped the 4 toms together. I grouped them to one bus. So on that bus channel, I have the Slate VCC, and then FGN, which is emulating the Neve EQ. So I just boost the top band a bit, and then around 3.2K, I boosted that a bit, about 3.9 dB, thereabout. Yeah, that's all. So I have that snappy bite from the snare, and then my reverbs. I have 3 reverbs. Then sounds like this. So with the kick, snare, and toms, they all sound like this. Okay, the only downside of the Logic drums is that the actual kit doesn't bleed into the overheads. So you only hear the hits in the overheads, like the overhead hit itself. You won't hear snare bleed, kick bleed, or tom bleed in there. I'm sure with Superior Drummer, you can achieve that from Tune Tracks. Now this is hi-hat and overheads. without processing. I group them together so that they have same processing. I mean the hi-hat and the overhead. So first I have the oxide tape from UAD. Yeah, so these are my settings. You can check it out. After that, I have my virtual mix rack again with the London saturation plugin, VCC, revival, and then the trim. So I just boost the saturation on the London. It's a virtual tube collection console. So I boost the saturation, leave it on preamp, and then I just boost my VCC a little bit, and then revival into the trim. So after processing the sound, before processing, sounds like this. After processing, and then I send to my reverbs. If I play the drums together, sounds like this. Oh, the sub kick, yeah. Now let me play everything without processing. Without processing. Now this is the Logic drums. It actually sounds good. I like it, but I think I prefer with my processing with trigger and then my mix plugins. And then I switch on my processing back. Let's hear the difference. I have a bass going on here, bass guitar. And then in the context of the music, the entire music sounds like this. Just to show you what my drum processing looks like. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this is helpful. You can drop like, comments in the comment section. Thank you very much. See you soon.